G'day guys, so today we are talking about the dumbbell hammer curl. Fantastic exercise to bring up the brachialis. What the hell is that other than a dinosaur? Well, oddly enough, people think that this grows your biceps, and look, you are going to get bicep involvement obviously because you're creating elbow flexion. However, you actually have a muscle called the brachialis that goes underneath and runs underneath your bicep and helps with elbow flexion, especially in a neutral or a pronated grip, which is where we are going to be. For those who don't know, with a hammer bicep curl, your hands are in a neutral position like so, and you're coming up like you are hammering a nail of some description. Not that I've ever done that because, well, it ain't my thing. So how do we go about, or what are the principles that we're going to use when it comes to doing a dumbbell hammer curl? They are exactly the same when it comes as a normal standing dumbbell curl. And that is, we want to be as rigid as possible through our body to prevent any momentum, right? Let's talk about where the momentum is created. We can create momentum through our heels. So you see people popping up on their toes. Obviously, a big momentum shifter is through our hips. So we start swinging. And also, you see some people, they like to do a little semi-squat. So we're going to shore up our lower body first. How do we do that? Well, we're actually going to slightly grip the ground with our feet and screw our feet into the ground. Pretend that you have a piece of paper underneath your feet and that you're tearing that paper apart. Okay, we're going to lock the knees out, squeeze the quads on, and then we're also going to, with that slight little rotation and our knees going slightly out, you're going to feel your bum come on, and we're also going to squeeze our backside. Okay, so that's going to lock up pretty heavily our lower body, and there's a fair chance that we're not going to be able to get into these swinging like processes. Okay, let's talk about what to do with our upper body. When we are performing any bicep curl, we know that the bicep goes over two joints, so we want to shore up the top joint, i.e. the shoulder blade, because we want as much stability from where this bicep is pulling from as possible. Okay, so think of your bicep as, I don't know, a string or something, and that you are pulling from a nice stable position. It's coming up and back down. If the position's all unstable, then it's going to be really hard to pull from that position, and it can lead to all sorts of injuries. Let's talk about injuries as well. What type of injuries? Well, we can have a little bit of golfer's elbow, tennis elbow and golfer's elbow, where we might be coming out or in, or our elbows might be flaring. We want to create what we call a nice straight line of pull. Okay, what is the line of pull? We are looking to create, or to have 3 points always in a line. Number 1 point is your wrist, number 2 point is your elbow, number 3 point is your shoulder. We want them to be traveling in a nice straight line, not out, not in, not up, not down. Well, obviously we want to go up and down, but we want to be traveling in this line here. People are like, oh, but Rick, you know, if I do a slight little rotation, or if I flare out towards my elbow, I'm going to get more contraction through the bicep. That's correct. However, this slight rotation that you're aiming for is here and then out. Although it's only so much when you're in a supinated grip anyway. I wouldn't be doing it in a neutral grip because, well, essentially you're turning from a neutral to a supinated, so you're gauging more bicep. So I wouldn't suggest you do that at all in a neutral grip or a hammer grip bicep curl. However, yeah, so just go up and down, follow the nice straight lines. You can see that I'm bringing my arms forward. Why would I do that? Well, actually, we don't need to do it, essentially, with this one, because of the fact that we have our dumbbells that are separated. With a barbell, I would obviously pronounce forward, because by slightly tilting forward, you can see that I can go to full extension, versus with a barbell, if I'm down by my side, can't quite get there. So we're going to pull these shoulder blades back and down. I actually like to bring them slightly forward, and the reason being is because if I'm at full extension here, okay, you can see that the tension has been taken away from my biceps, and the reason being is because we're in perfect alignment. Okay, so gravity just does its thing. I can kind of go lax on this bicep, and I don't want to do that. more tension accumulated over a longer period of time is going to give us a much greater hypertrophy effect. So I'm going to have my arms slightly forward. By having them slightly forward, the gravity is still against my biceps. It's still keeping that tension on. I still have to work to keep that weight there instead of coming slightly back. Okay, so this is where I want to finish. Now, the brachialis is a smaller muscle than the biceps. The biceps are big compared to this one, so we want to be starting at a much lighter load, okay, and controlling this issue, this movement. A lot of issues can come from potential little brachialis tears, where people feel really uncomfortable, and I was one of these people in the neutral position trying to do a bicep curl, really junked up my elbow. I felt horrible doing it, and it's probably because I went too hard too early on the hammers, and you know, everyone's like this, and then they're like this, and then they're like this, and all of a sudden this gets all jammed up and horrible. So we want to make sure that we're starting nice and light, controlling the movement, and understanding that we aren't engaging fully the biceps. We're getting some bicep work in versus not so much when it comes to comparing it to, should I say, the supinated grip. Right, and a great example of this is really, really simple to see, and that if I come up like this, you can see that, yeah, I'm contracted, but not nearly as contracted as if I turn my arm and go like this. Okay, so that's the difference there. Right, so let's set up for this and we'll go through the movement. Now, I actually like to hold my dumbbells a little bit higher, so instead of being, say, bang in the middle, I actually like to come up and have my hands rested up against the top of the dumbbell. That's just a preference thing, it's up to you. But I am going to screw my feet in, lock my knees out, squeeze my quads on, then come through with the glutes, shoulder blades back and down, and then my arms are going to be slightly forward. From here, creating straight lines and a neutral grip. 1. And you can almost lock these elbows in nice and tight to your side. Okay, we'll have a look at this on the side angle. Lock, shoulder blades back and down, nice and tall, out, bang, and you can jam those elbows in nice and tight. Okay, little tip at the bottom portion of this lift, make sure you just don't let go. If you do let go and your elbows are forward, then you're going to really load up our tendons and ligaments through the elbow joint, and it's going to potentially lead to some issues. So you must keep tension on that working muscle the entire time. So that means control your eccentrics and lengthen whilst under tension, and you shouldn't have an issue, and you should grow really, really well. Why would we do this exercise? It's not giving us the most contraction out of our biceps, purely because if we can grow that little one underneath and get much happier and stronger elbows, that's going to transfer into potentially a larger looking arm, and also you're going to be able to move more weight with your back exercises and potentially your presses. All right, team, that there is how you go about doing a dumbbell hammer curl.